Hi guys, welcome. This is episode 13 of my Hyrox Chronicle, my meandering journey through the world of Hyrox. Now I like to make one of these videos at all of the races that I go to tell a story about how it went. I like to tell the good bits, but also the bad bits, right? The bits that I struggled or failed at. I think it's important from a relatability point of view to show everybody that it's not always about winning or getting personal bests. Now, I like to tell a story about how I get to the start line, every bit as much as how I get to the finish line. And this particular outing has a great story behind it, and it's related to the last video I did at Hyrox Manchester. If you saw my last video, you will have seen that I went and did a Hyrox event at Manchester just 3 weeks ago with a fella named John Steventon. He is an indoor rower, he is a YouTuber, and he's done plenty of Hyroxes by now. Me and him, we didn't know each other before Hyrox. We became friends through sort of mutual interests, bumping into each other at Hyrox events and just getting talking over time. Earlier this year, he went and did a 75-minute effort at London Olympia, and I thought to myself at that point in time, wow, our times are comparable. I'm going to ask him if he wants to do a doubles with me. He said yes, and we booked this event at London Excel. Now, how did we end up at Manchester before this one? Well, Hyrox put Manchester on sale and did 2 events. One of those events was before the London date, so we went and did that together. It was a bit impromptu, it was unpracticed, we hadn't done any training together before that. In fact, that was the first time we'd ever stepped onto a Hyrox floor at the same time. So we went and we did that, and we got a 107.31. We were quite pleased with that, but we know deep down that we can do better. So with that practice run done, we are coming back to London Excel. Now, when this particular event was being formulated in our brains many months ago, Deadpool and Wolverine was on the cinema.
You were an X-Man.
And it wasn't a stretch for me to sort of connect the dots and make this particular outing our Deadpool and Wolverine outing, a sort of code name, if you will. So John was very quick to Bagsy the Wolverine character, and I think that's mainly down to him already owning some of the outfit.
Hey bud, welcome to another workout for you to roll along to.
Oh, that hurts my throat.
Fits his ability to grow mutton chops and pretty much just having a hard on for Hugh Jackman. But I didn't mind being Deadpool. I think he's quite funny. Anyway, so we'd adopted these characters, and it was only a code name at that point. A short while later, John had sent me a picture with a vest that was Wolverine, right? Like a gym vest, arms out, everything. So I had to go and source myself a Deadpool costume to match his. So I did that, and from that point on, we were always going to be showing up in these vests at this Hyrox. So stand by, London. A lot of sexiness coming your way. Now, on this point, 3 weeks ago at Manchester, a fella rocks up in full Deadpool cosplay. Now, he looked awesome, right? But it reminded me of the sort of scenario where you go to a fancy dress party, you buy a £12 outfit on eBay, you rock up, and then the door knocks, the door opens, and then there's someone in a £150 version of the same outfit you've got. You feel a little bit overshadowed. But we chose our outfits with speed in mind. We still want to go for a time. So I have a little bit of unfinished business at London Excel. Last year I went into it nursing a pretty bad lower back injury, something I'd done on wall balls just 18 days prior. I did everything I could to get ready, ice baths and creams and pills, etc. But I knew I went into it compromised. I started the race, I got to the sled pull before I started to feel the pressure in my spine. By the burpees, that constant getting up and down, and the run after burpees is where it twanged. It had me almost give up at that point. I grizzled through the rest of it, wincing and grimacing as I went. I'm very proud that I finished, but I definitely have some unfinished business. So with regards to how we are going to do things at this particular event, I don't think we're going to change our plan. We formulated a plan for Manchester and we executed it. It felt like it went really quite good. I don't think we can save massive amounts of times in the stations. Looking at our results from last time, it seemed that the biggest hemorrhage of time was in the runs. And I think this came down to a few factors. I think the course was a little long, but I think due to the busyness of the course, we spent a lot of the time on the outside. So over 3 laps times 8, we were obviously incurring quite a bit more distance than we realised, and it just made our running times look a little bit slow. I think if we hugged the inside line, we'd save quite a bit of time. In the time since then, I've obviously put a lot of running miles down just to sort of try to increase my fitness on that front. I think John has done the same as well. We're both hoping that we can beat the 107.31. Now, I would love to go under 105, but under 107.31 by 1 second would be enough for me. So we're obviously dealing with 2 different venues, different size of rock zone, different amounts of people. We do not know how the venue difference is going to impact the time. So all we can do is go in, give it our absolute best, and hope that we can beat that time. Now, I don't think there's anything more to say. I'm just going to hand over to London, where we'll be starting our pre-race prep with Wolverine. All right. Okay, so here we are at London Excel, bright and early, 7 a.m, and we're waiting for John/Wolverine/Logan to show up in a few moments. He flew in late last night, so he's not had much chance to do anything yet, other than sleep and take a very nervous poop. We're going to get ready into our Deadpool and Wolverine costumes, get registered, do all of that stuff. 8:40 start, and we're done. Oh no, not the big reveal. No, don't show anyone. Oh, look at that. Let me just touch it.
Easy, Tiger.
No, there's no easy. I was gentle. I didn't want to break it. All right.
Oh, hey.
How you been?
All right.
I've got a little fan club just in here, starting to build. The pressure's starting to build with it.
So, no. I've been training for what, however long?
Yes.
With this guy in my gym, and I think it's time you take ownership of Deadpool.
Now, let's see. I've got a little present for you too, John.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now this is a 2-parter. You get your respective half.
It's like Joey and Chandler, isn't it?
Look, it says best friends. Look at that, that's cool.
I'm saying this is the end of our time together, but I figured it's...
No. I think it's just the beginning. In 2 years' time, we both go up an age category in doubles.
Fair enough.
And we'll start to dominate then.
How are you this morning?
So it gets real.
Sorry, I prefer my hands. It's getting a little bit daft.
So we are now Deadpool and Wolverine, feeling both silly and manly in equal measure. Rough tactics, mostly what it was last time, with a few tweaks, maybe shorten some of the bits. That's kind of it. Right, okay, so we're going to put this camera away, we're going to get in there, and we're going to pick this up from inside the arena. All right, let's go. Let's fucking go. So this is the part of the footage where we get to see what Deadpool and Wolverine did on the day. Now, I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently to how I do it normally. I'm going to be comparing the times that we got at London Excel directly with the times that we got from Manchester just 3 weeks prior. Now, the aim all along was to set a time at Manchester, return to London Excel, dressed as superheroes, and beat that time. So as we work through the footage, I'm going to show you the times that we got at Manchester, and underneath I'm going to put the times that we got at London, and at the end we can have a little look at those numbers and see how we did. So the very start of the race starts like all Hyroxes do, in the Red Bull start tunnel. Now, we were at the very front of our particular wave, and we got our countdown and we were off. Into the first corner, we saw Holly with the camera. We gave her a wave and a bit of a love heart, as Deadpool does, and we were into the first lap. Now, the first lap was long at London Excel, but it was short at Manchester. That makes this comparison quite polar opposites. We've got a short lap there and a long lap here, and it starts us off in a bit of a deficit. So as we are running around, we've got 2.6 laps to do, and it's of the Excel, which is massive. So it felt like we were running for ages before we inevitably came in at station 1. So we enter station 1, the skier. We have 1,000 meters to do. We had agreed that we would break this up into 250 meter chunks. Now, John was to go first and I was to go last, and that's done on purpose because I'm the stronger runner, and it evens us out, gives John a second to take a breath before trying to run out with me. So John takes the handles, he gets it up to speed, and he starts pulling at around 138 per 500 meters before settling down into a rhythm around 142 to 145. Now I'm peering over to his left, looking at his meters, specifically his meters, because that's my cue to jump in. As he sort of passes 200 meters, I'm primed, I'm ready to go. And as he approaches the 250 mark, he counts me in 3, 2, 1. John then steps out to the left when he should have stepped out to the right. We collided a little bit. I jumped in and started to pull my own handles. I got the pace down to about 128, which is a bit quick, before settling down into around 135. And I got through my set really quickly. I'm a sort of a higher tempo skier. And then as I sort of passed the 500 mark, I called John back in. He jumped back in for his second set, and he did the same sort of pace he did before. And on my last set, I make a conscious decision to go a little bit slower, sort of to taper me down for the very next run. As soon as we were done, we put our hands up and the referees set us free for run 2. So station number 2 was the sled push. So we made a point to run all the way up to the sled as to not waste any time. John took the first stint again so that we could take it in turns and I could be last, so it evens us out on the subsequent run. John pushed his across and was an absolute legend. The sled is one of my specialities. Certainly in the doubles, I can get it up to speed really quickly. And this is done, if you look in the video, I actually lift about 90% of the sled off the ground as I push it, and I can get it across in about 10 seconds flat. Now, I can't necessarily do this same speed when I'm doing it on my own, but in doubles I can. So I got it back really quickly. John had his second go, pushed it back, and my second go was not as fast as my first, but again I know that I have to run out of this station, so it's about preserving a little bit of backup power to get those legs powered back up on the exit. So station number 3 was the sled pull. Again, we made the point of running right up to the rope as to not waste any time. John started to pull first, and his technique is predominantly the walk back. He picks up the rope, walks it all the way back, drops the rope, picks the rope back up again and cycles through that. It works for him, it works for his biodynamics. Then we run to the other side as fast as we can and made a point of sprinting across here. On my go, I used the combination technique of walking it back and arm over arm. It's easier in the first of these two goes. John takes his second go, again sticks to his plan of walking it back. And then finally, my last go, I tried to do a bit of arm over arm, but it eventually slowed right down to the hip extension technique. Now, we made a point of running out of this station as fast as we could, as to not waste any more time. So station number 4, it's the burpees, everyone's favourite, except for John and I, who we absolutely hate the burpees. They're just dreadful. John did the first set. We had agreed we were going to do these in sets of 5. It's quite a common cluster of how to do them in a duo. In fact, he did 6 before tapping out and my go commenced. Now, the first few sets of these actually feel okay. You're still a little bit bouncy, you've still got a bit of energy, but after you've swapped 2 or 3 times, you are starting to fatigue, even as a duo. So we sort of get to one end, turn it around, and we're bringing it back. It's over actually quite quickly, but it feels like an eternity when you're actually in there doing them. This was the sort of, I actually felt a little bit dizzy at this point because of all the sort of getting up and lying down again, but that passed before too long. So station number 5, it's the row. It's John's speciality. So this is the one where we decided that we would break it up, me to do around 300, John to do around 600, and me to do another 300. So I enter the row first. I try to get a little bit ahead of John so I can sit down on the row and start to strap in. Whenever I seem to get to these rowers, the foot straps seem to be so small and tiny, it's ridiculous. So I get on and I start to pull and get up to speed. I think I was around 1:45 for most of it. It's not as fast as I was at Manchester. I was noticeably more fatigued at this point than I was then, as I was pulling much better then. So we swapped over at around 300. John steps in and does around 600. Now, toward the end of John's 600 stint, I noticed he was still pulling 1:45, and I asked him to stay on for a little bit longer, and I'm glad I did, because when I actually did get to sit on, I had about 200 meters left to pull, and I could do that with just a little bit more vigor than I probably would have if he'd tapped out sooner. So station number 6, it's the farmer's carry, and this is my favorite station. However, as we approached the arch, I could tell that I was more gassed than I had been at this point at Manchester. Nevertheless, I picked him up and I had my first go. Now, the plan roughly was for me to do the first section and John to do the second, but it didn't necessarily go down like that. At the 50-meter mark, I shouted at John that I needed to change the plan and that we would do this in quarters. So I did the first 50, John did the second 50. I did the third 50. I think I tried to run it a little bit further than that to give John just a little bit more of a chance to burn that last bit. And we finished that really quite quickly, and I was quite happy with actually how that went in the end. So station number 7, it's the lunges, and both John and I, we do not love the lunges. And just a week before, John had hurt his hamstring doing lunges at the gym and been nursing it ever since then, hoping that his leg would hold up in the actual competition. Now, I was going to go first to see how far I could get before handing over to John. And actually, after a couple of reps, it was clear that John was actually all right. His leg was holding. And I felt a little bit of relief at this point, meaning that I didn't have to do 80 meters of bloody lunges. So John continued to do it and then passed it to me, and we went backwards and forwards. In my resting periods, I kept looking at my watch. At this point, we had about 9.5 minutes until we hit our time at Manchester, and we still had a run to do and we still had the wall balls to do. So station number 8 is the wall balls. And as we entered the wall balls, I take a look at my watch. It just passed the hour. So we had around 7 minutes or just under to beat our time from Manchester. So we run up to the station. John takes the first stint. I stand there and just have to watch. John pops out 10. John pops out 20, John pops out 30, unbelievable. It's my go, I pop out 10, I pop out 20, I pop out 23 on my first cluster, and my legs were absolutely toast. John takes the next batch and leaves me with about 19 left to do, and he's shouting at me now, he's shouting. We've got all the Hyrox guys and girls on the MC, and they're shouting at us, Deadpool, Wolverine, Martin and John shouting at me, let's fucking go! I'm doing wall balls, terrified, and 3, 2, 1, and we fight through the people, and we sprint, and I mean we sprint all the way up that ramp, and we roar in the face of that photographer, getting a 1:05.45. Take that, Manchester!
So we have just finished men's doubles here at London Excel, and what was our time?
Oh, crikey, 1:05.41.
1:05! Amazing. How did it go?
I thought that was amazing. I think after the first one that we did, it was basically just a training run. I think we learned a lot. I think both of us supported each other really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it was...
Where did you struggle?
Burpees.
Burpees.
Yeah.
We both hate burpees. Thankfully that you do just enough and then hand back over to the other person. I personally was struggling in the lunges. John came into it with a bit of a hamstring niggle, but bossed it anyway.
Up and having, so everything up until burpees, I was like, let's run, let's F and go, but hit that, and then I'm like, we're gonna have to.
I noticed that you were in my shadow on every corner, every bit of the run. I was looking around at some points, but I didn't need to because you were in my blind spot.
And I'm like,
and when we came into the sled push, you was like, where's Martin? And I was like, here, I'm right here. Wall balls, he did 30 in a row.
Yep, start 30, 30 did 20, I did 30, you did 20.
He did 23.
Oh, sorry, oh wait.
23. But it was really good because we just, whatever I could do, he could do. Whatever he could do, I could do. And that's that's the really good partnership.
And
So-
then like runs, you'd drag me along when I was suffering, and I'd drag you along when you were suffering. So I think we're the perfect team.
Getting there.
Okay, well,
So we were talking earlier that in 2 years' time we would collectively go up into the 50s to 59s. So watch out, you 50-year-olds.
it's my birthday in February. You can Jack Daniels would be nice.
Right. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Come on, give one of these.
Oh, you're sweaty.
You're all sweaty. God damn it.
Oh man.
Right, so I'm going to pick this up at home. I'm going to analyse everything as I always do. Thanks for watching this far. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.
So that was Deadpool and Wolverine taking on Hyrox London Excel, and the day was spectacular. It makes sense to talk about the time first. So 1 hour, 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Yes. But a few of you eagle-eyed viewers out there might have noticed that we in fact lost time in the first 6 stations. All 6 we lost time. Not a lot of time, 1 second here, 2 seconds there, 6 seconds here, maybe 30 seconds over all 6 stations. So how did we go on to then get a personal best in the doubles? Well, it came down to the runs. We knew it was going to come down to the runs. The runs at Manchester felt long and we felt a little bit aggrieved by them. It didn't feel right. And we started off with a short lap there and longer laps 2 to 7, whereas at London we had a big lap followed by 7 shorter laps. So when we sort of started at London, we had to absorb that first big lap, and it was 2 whole minutes slower than what it was at Manchester. So we were already on the back foot, we were already having to make up time. And then in every station we lost more time. However, runs 2 to 7 at London, because they were shorter and we were going faster, we were clawing it back. Every single run, we were clawing a bit of that time back. 30 seconds here, 40 seconds there, and it was building up. We were building up this buffer. The lunges and the wall balls were both faster than Manchester. So as we approached the end, we were obviously starting to get a little bit excited and starting to speed up a little bit. It didn't feel like it at the time. It felt slow as hell at the time, but that's what was happening. And inevitably, we went and did it that much quicker than what we did in Manchester. So let's talk a little bit about the duo that is Martin and John, or Deadpool and Wolverine. 2 years ago I didn't know John and we were practically strangers, and Hyrox has sort of brought us together, but signing up to these competition has really concreted our friendship. Since signing up, we've obviously had to talk a lot more and plan and formulate everything for both Manchester and London. Actually going and running these things with John is an absolute privilege to do, and it's one of the highlights of my year, and I've done an enormous amount of work this year, but this is right up the top there. This will be one of those things that I think about fondly in years to come. That time that I went out as Deadpool with Wolverine as a wingman at Hyrox, right? It makes the mind boggle. It will be one of these things that I genuinely remember for a long, long time. That's what Wolverine thought. So drag him back. And I'm going to make him do it till he's 90. So will we see Deadpool and Wolverine again at a Hyrox event? I'm pretty sure we will. I want to, and I'm pretty sure John wants to, and I made a promise that I'm going to rag him till he's 90 on this. So I hope that we will in fact be together in another doubles coming soon. I'd like to think he can spare one event a year for his good old friend Deadpool. Hopefully we can get out again soon. Now, if you've got any ideas about duos that you might want us to adopt, like Deadpool and Wolverine, just drop them down in the comments. No Chuckle Brothers, please. So I just want to end this video with a massive congratulations and well done to each and every competitor that went and put themselves through yet another Hyrox event. It is a real beastie thing to do, and you should all be very proud of yourself regardless of your ability and or finishing time. So if you're just passing through, please give the channel a subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments, just drop them down below. All right, see you in my next video soon. Mart out.